you'll hear the same words over and over again. I'm so devoted to you, or I'm such a good boy. Is this a good boy? Or is this a naughty boy that wants to be approved?
I do have kind of tiers of how people can graduate into my power dynamic.
I refer to myself as a Doberman, that the protectiveness really comes
My favorite
in.
dog. Wait, do you want to be a puppy?
Oh my God.
Welcome to Dommed Podcast. We are your hosts, Mistress Gemma
And Goddess Seraphyna.
Are you ready to be dommed?
We're back.
And better than ever.
Season 2 of Dommed is finally here.
And we've missed you so much.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime since season 1.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like I've lived many lives.
Oh, and have we evolved?
A lot. We've learned a lot, and it was delayed. Actually, season 2 was delayed, but I think we needed it because we're really excited for what we've got going.
Yes.
So thank you for being here.
Yet I really believe that this was not only the best for ourselves and to really process what this entire year has, but also integrate it into first and foremost our lives, and then into our kink and into our DS and all of the fun. I'm pro now.
You're officially pro. Do you still feel like a baby?
Do I feel like a baby? So it's actually really interesting. I was just saying that it feels as if my apprenticeship has been coming to a close, that I feel I'm really proud of myself in seeing all that I have collected in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, in terms of deep connection that I feel so grateful for. It's so interesting because the launch of Dommed was when I launched publicly. So my timeline is synced up with this. And with that, a lot of my clients are and were viewers and listeners, which is really sweet. That
the best.
Yeah, this is the way that you guys connected with not only me but with us. And
you really got insight into our minds a lot, and there's so much to share about this year.
Yes.
Yeah. My motto for 2025 is everything, everywhere, everyone, all at once. It's been an insane year. Like, I feel like and heard very similar realities or experiences from many people, and I think including you.
Yes. I, it is so interesting because we talk about this so much, about how kink is a really helpful compass and a really helpful mirror to shine light and reflect all of the sensitive points within self and how we interact with the world. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we started Dommed, and then it launched. And I think that our intention behind it was in super drive, and I have never evolved faster.
Yeah.
I have never been face to face with such intimacy and vulnerability when it comes to the tender shadow parts of myself. And then in turn, like you said, everyone all at once, that it really does seem as if these themes have been hyper present in everyone's lives, not just ours.
Hyper magnified in intensity and in scope and in influence across so many areas. For me, it was certainly a spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. Yeah, it was difficult to say the least, probably some of the most difficult times. You know, I kind of went a bit more quiet over the summer, and it did give me a lot of perspective for the remainder of half the year. So in full vulnerability, you know, I was dealing with a lot of personal things like parent health issues, relational issues, deaths. I had one of my more long-term close subs pass away, unfortunately, in a unexpected, as they are, plane crash. For only 2 weeks later to find that another sub that I adore truly found out he had stage 4 kidney failure. And he's doing well. I mean, he's got the right care, but he does need that transplant, and that requires a radical lifestyle change. And just those themes in itself, for one, I really got perspective on my love for my subs and how that's actually a different kind of love that I've unlocked. It's different than familial love. It's different than my romantic love. It's different than my love for myself. It's like truly something particular. And it's in these moments you really get those poignant hits of, hey, this is actually real. And I didn't really know how to have that perspective. It's one of those things where you could say it that you love, but until you feel it and not embody it, it's almost just a conception in your head, right? You could romanticize about, oh, it's going to feel this way and that way. And in these harrowing times, I will call it, it really does hit quite hard. It's beautiful. I definitely got a lot of insight, a lot of perspective. It's shifted a lot in the way that I choosing to show up personally, and then also in my work and what it means and what I actually want to carry forward. So to keep it relatively short, you know, I think it'd be great to kind of go over what things we learned, you know, what things really were meaningful through these times, because I know your year wasn't the easiest either. So why don't you go first, and then I will share.
Oh, goodness. First in the class. Yes.
You are first in class, in my class, at least, as my little baby dom.
Oh, thank
but
you.
Hold on, no longer baby dom.
Yeah, wow. The evolution. Well, first and foremost, I want to, I'm sorry for your loss. And I know that he had a really big impact on your life, and also in your space of dominance and being an empowerment, and that he had a really big impact. And then also, I'm glad that your other sub is doing better and is getting the care that he needs. So going into what you were talking about, the lessons that I learned of DS love, I was not expecting in the slightest to see, receive, and then mirror back a love that I have never experienced before. It was something that was such a heightened discovery for myself. I think in the past, doing simply lifestyle, which we'll go into a little bit more, that lifestyle is my bread and butter in the way of devotion, extending outside of sessions is really necessary for me. But what was interesting from going from lifestyle into pro-dom is that in the lifestyle, it was romantic. So romantic love was muddled within the DS love. So it just seemed like another facet of romantic love. And then going pro and having this love that is experienced with clients, which I know that we've talked about hasn't been isn't discussed enough because it is such a very specific love. The way that I kind of describe it to people is if your most loyal, loving childhood pet that is part of the family, that just is so protective and so loves you so unconditionally and is just there looking up with
the adoration.
Yeah.
You're the best human ever.
Yes, exactly. That if that pet became human, that is the closest correlation.
Yes. I find many subs, if I were to choose a breed for them, I mean, for each sub that is a puppy for me, they're different. I really feel into it and to choose, either their names or what animal or pet they might be. But I would say the golden retriever is a pretty apt and correct one.
Sweetheart. Yeah. Well, it's so funny because
at least to their doms.
Yes. Well, I haven't had any puppies yet. That this type of experience is more so just that that it is, like you said, that level of adoration and that level of loyalty and just pure and utter devotion, which is, I think, a really big lesson that I've learned. And then I know that we've talked about this, but I feel really lucky that I've been mentored by you and been able to learn so much from you, because something that you really taught me, and I think that you were in turn learning this this year as well, is that there was a line from last season where it was, I was saying that I didn't want to cry because doms don't cry, and you go, do doms cry? And I go, I don't know. And you said, we can do anything we want with the desire and the intention behind it. And I think that was really, really helpful advice for me, because I don't think that I was ever contained for a long period of time of performing the stereotype, which I do want to go into silly story time with you, but I feel like those are my big lessons. And then definitions to words. Negotiation, communication. Yeah. It's spoken about time and time again, but my communication skills have strengthened like crazy.
It has to, for sure.
It has to. And also,
everyone defines a word differently or slightly, possibly, because of whatever experiences or reality that they view that particular thing.
Completely. Yeah. And I think that not only communication, but comprehension has literacy and understanding that I think with kink, and I mean, you know this even more than I do, but you'll hear the same words over and over again. You'll hear the same phrases over and over again of I'm so devoted to you, or or I'm such a good boy, or all of these things that you hear it, and there has to be discernment of understanding what they actually mean, because is this a good boy, or is this a naughty boy that wants to be approved in goodness and sneaks and is a little undercover with their naughtiness? So the comprehension of what are you saying and what do you mean, because especially when in subspace for submissives, that they're usually, at least in my opinion, they're speaking. I love when they use their words, but the words are few, so you have to have the knowledge to discern what their words truly mean. And also for men.
So then what's the knowledge? Is it reading them? Is it understanding them? Also, you like a lot of conversation back and forth in your sessions? So I like getting them to silence, but by the through line of speaking and engaging with them in an energy exchange power exchange, in other words. Their responses, their attunement to it, their reactions to it, and then dwindling down to nothingness where they just have this thoughtless, speechless, babbling.
Yes, the
state.
babble. Yeah, so it's so interesting because I was really thinking of that. I know that we've talked about it, not in the pro space, and it's been a while. But I am a switch, and I feel like when I do sub, I really like that thoughtless or mind blinking, mind melting experience. So I do like to induce that, but what I have found is that the intensity of myself and my dynamics and then appeared in ways that I was not expecting. And I really do like, I feel like we just fuel each other. That it's not even like we're having a conversation, her repeating, I'm such a pretty little girl for you. And that it goes and then it fuels and then I say it with different tone, with different cadence, with different intensity, that I feel like it's a building experience. And then after
it's reinforcement. It's training them. It's getting them comfortable and embodied in their role as your submissive. And where you're going to place them.
Exactly. And then when it gets to that place and that intensity reaches, for lack of a better word, climax, then I like the stillness and the silence and the holding. But essentially that kind of more feels like the aftercare of holding them into the come down versus the peak experience.
I mean, yes, it tends to lend towards the end, but it is something I like to induce. If I'm calculating it, maybe at least the last quarter, or at least if there's going to be a section where I want that silence. I want you to be so focused in your body that the verbal and logic and monkey brain does not need to operate. It's just your being and your surrender of your body and your offering of your body. And in the play space, at least, I mean, I like offerings of all types. Those have to come in conjunction as well. All the variety, if you're going to be a well-rounded sub.
It's a requirement.
But in the play space, it is that offering of, I do have kind of tiers of how people can graduate into my...
Let's hear it.
Power dynamic. So mistress, as most, if not all of you know, is my honorific. However, those that I collar or really allow into my inner life, my inner circle in a way, which has happened over years of that development. And it's a gradual progression of deliberate cadence, their consistency, their honest desire to actually submit and allow me to guide, building that trust that it goes both ways, absolutely building that trust. But for me, at least, building the trust that they are truly wanting this in commitment, because I only have 2 colored slaves. I treat it as if I'm committing to them as almost a marriage. It's like, I see you and this color represents that bond. And as much as you're devoted to me, I am committed to our dynamic. And so I know I've been keeping you waiting about what the honorific is. So they can step into my queendom. And so they call me queen. So I have 2 colored subs, but I do have, I'm only 3 subs that I've allowed to call me queen. I mean, I have my baby girls who are not ongoing subs, but, play subs. They naturally call me queen, which is kind of nice and beautiful. I don't even have to. They understand it. They're like, oh, I see you. I put the crown on you.
Oh,
But in the true form of what a queen means to me is that you are stepping into my kingdom, and you are my loyal servant, let's say, for lack of a better word. I don't mean it in the context necessarily of, you're a servant, and I mean, you are owned by me, but you are showing me that you are able to serve. And serve in my best interest, because you know that as me as a queen, I'm going to keep my lot safe.
Yes, completely. And I do really resonate with that. Teasing that that I refer to myself as a Doberman, that the protectiveness really comes
my favorite dog. Wait, do you want to be a puppy?
Oh my God.
A Doberman's a pretty damn good one. I don't have one yet.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm not flirting.
What if you were? With that, the protectiveness of being in the kingdom, but I think this is really reminding me of a conversation that we've had, and also just the beauty of witnessing you in this year is that the theme of receiving, that they are coming to take care.
Yeah. On that, this year really has given me a lot of insight, and I have stepped into deconstructing what a dominatrix is, and especially for me. And as you were saying about the receiving, that actually was my word for my birthday this year. And I don't choose words lightly, and it's not something I do every year. Maybe every few years a word will come to me, and I'm like, that's the one that I'm going to manifest. And receiving is it. I think something that got very clear for me was kind of this core lie, in a way, that I thought was so part of my identity just by my upbringing and the life that I've experienced thus far, is almost the emotional regulator. And how, for me, the core lie is that if I stepped into my power, then it would dysregulate people, or that it'd be selfish in a way. And where I got a clear understanding that actual truth behind that is that it's not my power that destabilizes, it's my overfunctioning. Yes. And so there's an expectation, because I'm really good at taking care of shit and getting things done and holding a space and container. And so that was very potent for me to get that clarity. And I actually got that clarity this last time I was in Europe. I did a little solo wanderlust, which I've been really craving this year. And so it is also one of my intentions to continue exploring. I haven't done too much of it. I've done a few days here or there, but to have the extended, I'm very much in this almost, maybe it sounds woo-woo, but I can't find a better metaphor for it, like a priestesshood oracle, where it's I'm needing to take my time and space, because there is this big evolution of, how I'm developing, and also my philosophy around BDSM and DS, and how, from my understanding and all the research and being in the space and immersing myself almost entirely and fully the past 4 years without many hobbies, I do think there is a misrepresentation. For one, we all know that, especially in the media, but at the core, the philosophy and understanding of it, some people do fundamentally understand, but I don't see that it is at least didactically expressed in a way. I really don't want to say too much, because,
Secrets.
I'm a little tease in denial. And yeah, my definition of power, like as you said, definitions are really important. So there's been so much mulling and thought over that. And it really, really, this past summer has forced me to slow down, to do this transition of the way I was operating, and also finding that vulnerability with my subs, and not their vulnerability to me, because that is easily what's accessed for me, but my vulnerability. And in doing that, my subs really have shown up. Like I was able to receive on levels that weren't easy for me, to like allow them to be that intimate with me. And just their understanding, and how it really fostered even more devotion from them. And to see that true submissive character, where it's not a fantastical projection of what they want me to be. Yeah. And there's so much to say on that, right? That definitely fostered that. And I actually received a lot more. And isn't it so interesting when you really have to, for me, when I really had to surrender into basically not being able to take any sessions because of all the stress that was going on and the caretaking I had to do. So many of my former clients and subs actually have come to me, and there's a shift in my practice, which I had been calling in, and especially with my website redesign this past year.
Love.
Of them wanting to do more lifestyle engagements, which you also and I think really bond over and share that value in DS into like retainer form, or the generosity and the types of subs that are now reaching out. Like it was very intentional for sure, but to see that actually come through at the threshold of when I had to let go of the Dom persona versus the true Gemma stepping into her dominance, and the embodiment of that. And it was always there, but there was definitely like an invisible force field that was kind of limiting me in that way. Yeah. And it's really hard to put to words. It is definitely a internal and a very spiritual shift.
Yeah. One, as a dear loved one, and and as a dear loved one of mine, it is truly so beautiful to watch. And one dear loved one, also we're in this partnership together, and it really does feel like that, which is so beautiful.
We've had our challenges. Exactly. I think I made a joke last season, when you get two Doms, what happens? Nothing, because they're waiting for the other to execute.
Oh, we got stuff done.
Yeah. I mean, it took some, hurdles and some friction to really get our flow and understanding of, adapting to our strengths and where it's best laid.
Yeah, completely. And well, so with the partnership, and I think something that's so beautiful when you do partner with your loved ones and with dear friends is that you get to witness their evolution through multiple lenses. And not only did I, was able to see and be so proud of you as a loved one, for you to, it seemed like you stepped into your power via softening.
That is true. Yeah, that vulnerability. It was, again, the receiving end.
Yes. And then as a partner of yours, and I think that we definitely mirror and ping back to each other, that receiving, doming has really helped heal us and allowed us to feel more comfortable in receiving, because a lot of times being in control means that you have the reins and you are the facilitator. So asking for help and receiving help is, oddly enough, can be counterintuitive. And with that,
but it's also taking up that space and honoring that, no, this is my need and desire.
Exactly.
Which, you know, we did in our own ways, and I did that.
Mm-hmm.
But to do it in a way that is actually very personal
Yes.
in my professional life.
Yes.
Of like, no, this is actually what I at the core need.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. And I think, it's just been really beautiful to witness. And then also being able to have that communication to be able to say, I need this. And then to have people that love us. I know that I received from you, you received from me, that it is
for sure.
this, it was us coming to each other in intimacy and vulnerability, not only as loved ones, but as business partners, and to make that decision together, which I think as a whole just really evolved us, and makes me very excited to see where Dom goes, and to be creating and connecting with all of you. I love you so much. And let's see what this next season brings. Season in life.
Thank you so much for all your support. We could not be here without you. And season 1 went off with a blast, far more than we could have ever anticipated.
We can't wait to meet some of you. Did you enjoy being domed? Like, subscribe, and add your worships in the comments. Follow us on all socials linked in the bio below.